Welcome everyone to the Sim Racing Show, your one-stop shop for all of the news in the world of sim racing. And it's a massive week. We've got news on what is probably going to be the biggest sim racing game in the world, and loads of the other big sims coming with updates as well. I'm actually also in the news myself as a legitimate news item. We're going to get onto that. Let's start with the big game. That is Assetto Corsa Evo. It is getting closer and closer to release. As a sim racer, it feels like forever we've been waiting for a sequel to Assetto Corsa, and now it's finally coming. So what do we have? We have the game's Steam landing page. You can go on Steam, you can wishlist it, and you can look at screenshots. 28 screenshots released for Assetto Corsa Evo, and they show the road, they show the track detail, the tarmac, the dynamic weather, the day-night cycle, release some night shots as well. And also you've got some incredible shots of the cars. Also confirmations about stuff like specs and VR headset capability is coming, triple monitor capability, absolutely unbelievable stuff. I've done a full deep dive on it, so make sure you check that out. There'll be a link in the description below. Also, staying with Assetto Corsa, can you believe it? Assetto Corsa, the game that came out absolutely ages ago, has just achieved a record player count. And I think this is a really interesting and quite a nuanced point, but I know because you're watching this, you're interested in the nuance. So here we go. Assetto Corsa has just reached a peak. It's had 19,000 players playing at the same time. So basically 20,000 players. Now, you could look at that and say, look, Assetto Corsa Evo is going to be huge. You've got 20,000 concurrents. That's miles more than the other games. You know, when I'm on iRacing, sometimes it's 9, 10, 11,000. This is 20,000. The thing is, how many of those players have bought the game for very, very, very cheap, because you can get on sale for like £2 at the moment. £2 for Assetto Corsa. It would be rude not to. And secondly, how many people are playing mods? How many players are doing sort of no hezi, doing sort of like canyon stuff, doing whatever mods they're doing, using Pure and Soul and all of the reshade stuff? How many people are doing that? And is Assetto Corsa Evo going to have the same modding support? Personally, no matter what the developers say, I'm quite cynical about it, because a lot of the mods for Assetto Corsa are paid mods. You have to sign up to patrons and you pay the modders a monthly fee. Assetto Corsa Evo will want that money, Kunos want the money going into their pockets as a developer. So I think there's going to be a big battle here. I don't think Assetto Corsa Evo is going to be as mod friendly at launch, but you let me know what you think in the comments below. Now we're going to go on to another game, which is Race League. So Race League is an interesting game, and it's a physics focused game, and it's got a big new update last week, which is soft body damage. We know we've seen stuff like Beam NG and Wreckfest, soft body physics, you know, really interesting to sort of see how the cars deform, and makes it a lot more realistic. It probably should be a standard, but that's coming. Also other stuff like they've got dynamic puddles, dirt build up, and better netcode. So if you want to check that out, it's from Overseer Studios. It's an early access, it's an indie game. We like indie games on Sim Racing Show, so feel free to go and check that out. It's quite interesting. Talking about soft body, there's been a delay with BeamMG with their latest update. Still, BeamMG is not in 1.0. It's still sort of like in the equivalent of early access. I think it actually might be in early access, but BeamMG is like a sleeper giant as well. Maybe they'll see how Assetto Corsa Evo goes, and then they'll decide to package up and do it as a full release. We'll see. Steam Summer Sale is here, and there are some crazy bargain deals. By the way, I don't get any money, any commission for telling you about this. I just want you to have the best sim racing experience possible. I wish when I was starting sim racing there was a show that sort of ran through stuff like this. That's the whole point why I do this. So what have we got? American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator 2 reduced as £1.68. So you get the base game, you get a lot of there, and then you can get a lot of the expansions as well. Really recommend that. I've had fun in the truck sims. I think they're a great sort of social game to play. Another big discount is EA Sports WRC has gone from £45 to £13. So EA Sports WRC, what a mess that launch has been. I mean, it was really hyped at the beginning with the influencers and content creators, and then there was issuing with the stuttering and VR and all that's been another. Let's just hope they can reboot it and we have a better rally game next year. But otherwise, the discounts are lower at the moment. F124, I don't believe, was on a big discount, but I think that might have changed. So let me know in the comments if you know if F124 is on discount, because that would be quite a big move to see that go on discount early. We know that's another EA racing game that's been really troubled. And I'm just thinking, where is the next EA good racing game going to come from? Because they're a publisher with a great history of racing games. They have a really good history. But at the moment, it's just not quite working. Maybe we need to go back to basics. I know F1 Manager 24 is coming. Now, I really enjoyed the first F1 Manager. I really didn't like the sequel, F1 Manager 23. I thought it was overpriced, under-featured, and was very cynically sort of marketed. It wasn't really, I felt, clear in terms of limitations. They have changed that, to be fair. F1 Manager 24 is coming as a budget title, and there's going to be a create a team mode, and you can swap teams. Remember when F1 Manager 23 launched, you couldn't swap teams, and then they added it in like the hype cycle. Maybe partly due to the criticism I was putting on, like that is a key feature they've got to have. So F1 Manager 24 looks like it could be an interesting game. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not sponsored by them. I'll be buying it as I've done every iteration with my own money, and it makes it easier for me this time because it's a budget title. So that's just great. And I'm going to let you know my honest thoughts. But I really, really, really hope F1 Manager 24 is going to be a fun and dynamic and difficult game. Because if it is, I'll be doing a lot of it on a channel, and that'll be great for me to be doing a game I enjoy, sort of different to the sim racing side, the sim management side. There's another sim management game coming out called GT Manager. I've worked with those guys before on their game. What game they had? They had a game called Infinite Drive, where I went out to Spa actually for the WEC and did some stuff there. So possibly might do some stuff with GT Manager, and it'll be interesting to compare these management games. Automobilista 2 1.6 update is coming. I've had issues with Automobilista. I've got a crazy setup here. I've got different pedals, wheelbase, shifter, everything's different, and Automobilista just doesn't like it. I have sat in there in VR, but I can't get the inputs working. But 1.6 is coming, and it's meant to be a massive update. We know that the new Chevrolet GT3 is in there. That's also come to iRacing. And it looks like we might get the LMP2 from Oracle, which would be great. That's a really fun car to drive in a lot of sims. And we think also that Road Atlanta is going to come as well. Not my favourite track, to be honest, Road Atlanta. I mean, the first sector is just horrendous. If you wanted to make a really bad circuit, take the first sector from Road Atlanta, take the last sector from Fuji, and the middle sector, I don't know, you let me know in the comments. Now, something else that's coming is low fuel motorsport. This has been a little bit controversial because Automobilista made an announcement that low fuel motorsport was coming to AMS2, and I think there was some confusion about the partnership, and the developers come out again and said that it's not an exclusive thing. They just want to support as much as possible low fuel motorsport, which is a sort of, if you don't know what it is, it's like a ranking matchmaking league system that sort of runs separately to the game, like you do it in a browser, but then it creates servers and then you can get a code to log into the server. There's a lot of friction there, but these games don't have the matchmaking up to the standard they should do. It's not like something like Gran Turismo that has a really good matchmaking system, or iRacing that probably has the class standard matchmaking system, or Forza that has a really weird and was like kind of a flawed matchmaking system from the get-go, but at least they're all in there. Stuff like ACC, AC, R-Factor 2, and actually Le Mans Ultimate. Le Mans Ultimate, they have their own race control system. But anyway, there had to be some clarifications there with AMS2 that it wasn't going to be an exclusive one. Now we come to the news involving me. I've been in the news in sim racing because the ex-CEO of Fanatec, Thomas Jackemeyer, who I interviewed when he was the CEO of Fanatec, one of the largest sim racing peripheral companies, he said that my interview with him caused extreme damage to Fanatec. So there we go, me doing a honest, unbiased, direct, asking the questions that you want answered to a CEO of a sim racing company, caused that sim racing company extreme damage, in their words. What does that mean for sim racing journalism? Honestly, I think in sim racing, I've got to be honest, we need to support the really good journalism and really hard-hitting journalism and asking the questions that is going to get your feedback to the developers, and we're going to get sim racing on a path that's actually for sim racers. I think there's been too much not really good journalism. There's probably been too much journalism that's been, on the face of it, conflicted. For example, Overtake.gg is owned by Porsche Motorsport, that wasn't really disclosed at the beginning of Overtake.gg. That's important for us to know when they're reporting on stuff involving Porsche cars. Traction.gg was owned by Motorsport Games, which had exclusive control of the IndyCar license, the BTCC license, the NASCAR license, the Le Mans license. So how does that work when you're reporting on, those sort of things from your same owner company? That's changed now. Now Traction is more independent. So that's in a different place. But I just feel like, and if you take those two out, where is the sim racing journalism? So those two outlets do a really good job of sim racing journalism, but both where they were, I think there were almost inherent conflicts. And now, without those two, where are people actually going to do it? Because you've got a lot of influencers, let's be honest, they just want to take the cash. Because, they'll put some affiliate codes in their description and praise a product and make some money. So I think we need more journalism. And the fact I was able to go to Fanatec, fly there, and to Fanatec's credit, I was able to ask whatever I wanted, which was, what went wrong at Black Friday? What are you going to do to fix it? Do you want to apologize to your customers? How are you going to improve your customer service? What's the future for Fanatec? All these kind of questions, and we got the answers that we got. Maybe companies are going to be less likely to do that in the future. I don't know. I'm happy to interview anyone. So if anyone's watching wants to be interviewed, let me know. There'll be a link in the description. But thank you so much for joining. Please subscribe. It really helps me out. I'm just an individual doing it with my editor, who's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next time.